Those of you came over from the Chinook building, welcome to the admin building. I'm Lilia, Wong, I work in Treasury. We're standing in the remittance area, also known as the mailroom. Amy works in AR.
Scott Matheson, Treasury Manager.
Mark's the mailroom lead back there.
Way back there.
Hi Mark. Hi Mark. So I'm here today to talk about online bill pay. Oh yeah, thanks Scott. Which starts right here in the mailroom. Most, if not all, banks offer online banking. Let's see a show of hands of you who use online banking to check out your statements, to look at your transactions, to look at your balance. I do it twice or three times a week.
E-bills?
Yep. And e-bills, this is the same e-bills, same as online bill pay. In recent years, most banks also offer a feature called online bill pay, e-bills, which is an electronic payment service associated with your checking account or your credit card. And a taxpayer can very simply type in the name of a payee, and type in the dollar amount, can type in the address, and if they feel like it, they might type in the account number in the memo line, right? So everyone assumes that this online bill pay is electronic. So what starts off as a convenient feature for the taxpayer actually ends up as a very labor-intensive and very manual process for AR and Treasury. So this online bill pay, A3, is a collaboration between Treasury and AR. The problem for both AR and Treasury is twofold. Instead of an electronic payment, a check is cut and mailed to King County, and it arrives in a generic white envelope. Of course, we get lots of other mail, which is pre-sorted between blue and pink and gray and ivory, but these generic white envelopes also get mixed in with these other white envelopes, which can be handwritten. So these actually are not pre-sorted. And right where Mike Backness is, you're here. I thought you were at the last one. You're like my prop man. This is actually the sorting station right here. So we'll sort the mail, and that just represents an idea of how much mail we can get on any other day. Behind, right here is where this is a machine that actually opens up the envelopes. Once the envelopes are opened and the checks are pulled out for the online bill pay, we actually have to sort the checks between which ones belong to property tax and which one belongs to AR. So we have to make an assumption that if the account number is 10 to 12 digits, it's property tax, else they all belong to AR. So that's what this is. Second step is once all those checks are sorted, we start doing data entry. The second problem that this convenient feature that banks have started to offer taxpayers is that none of these checks come with invoices. So fortunately for us, oftentimes the account number does appear somewhere on the check. Maybe in the middle of the check, maybe to the left of the check, and maybe way down somewhere in the memo line. So what happens is Treasury will take these checks and physically look at the check and do data entry to print out a physical statement because we need that invoice. Meanwhile, AR will look for these account numbers and perform data entry in Oracle. So that's pretty labor intensive.
Wow. For an online process, yes.
Yeah. Well, to the customer, it looks like I'm just doing this. It's really easy. It makes it easy for King County, but it doesn't.
It's a
Creates
facade.
a lot of work. It is a facade.
Yes.
The third step involves the real work of depositing and posting. So after Treasury prints out an invoice for every corresponding check, they have to physically verify that the money actually matches between the check and the invoice.
They have to match like this.
And then we have a scanner, this machine right here, which will process the check with its invoice, and finally, with that process, we can deposit our money to the bank.
So we can't accept less than the amount that's due, or more than the amount that's due either. Whereas accounts receivable can accept different amounts than what was actually invoiced, but we can't.
How often does it not match?
Mark isn't here to tell me that.
Bummer.
It's easier to say that a majority of these online bill pay checks they do match.
They do match,
There's a
but
smaller minority and much more labor intensive when they don't match.
They have to be mailed back and then sometimes get a phone call, why didn't you accept the payment?
Okay.
So, so after the data entry, this will finally get deposited to the bank and into our property tax system. Meanwhile, for AR, they'll take all their checks and a deposit slip is created, and the checks are sent via Loomis Courier, where they drive it in an armored truck, and then they deposit it to the bank every day. And as for posting into Oracle, with just a few more clicks, AR can post that check into Oracle to its corresponding account. So this labor-intensive and very manual process takes anywhere between up to 3 staff for property to process these checks, especially during peak season. And as for AR, it'll take anywhere between 1 to 2 staff to process these checks. And as I mentioned earlier, this online bill pay A3 is a collaboration between Treasury and AR. And we hope to partner with a vendor to set up both an electronic file and electronic payments, either via ACH or wire, which can be deposited and posted automatically. So the future looks promising. With little impact to our taxpayer, who can still use this convenient online bill pay feature created by banks and a little bit of electrical magic, we can get our payments deposited automatically to our bank and automatically posted into our property tax system and automatically posted into our Oracle system. And that's the end of my presentation.
Very nice.
Questions?
So I don't understand how the automatic feature is gonna.
So think about it, if I'm a taxpayer, I'm typing everything online. Everything's already digital.
Okay.
So they have all the information, except that we're not set up to receive ACH and we're not set up to receive an e-file. So by default, all that information that was collected digitally is put on a check. So we're a minority. There are many other jurisdictions, many other corporations that are already set up as ACH. We just have to set ourselves up as ACH and as an e-file to accept it so that it can just go in all the way electronically.
So in our peak period where we might get a box of 2,000 or 3,000 payments, checks, where somebody's got to cut statements, we'll now get a file that's got 2,000 or 3,000 records. A lot easier to process that.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
How long is it gonna take to get that set up?
Not sure. What I do know is that there are 4 vendors who can offer viable solutions. Luckily for us, these 4 vendors we already have contracts with, so it could be as simple as an addendum, a work order, statement of work, you know. And also luckily for us, we're not the first ones to do this. We are one of the last few.
Well, obviously there'll have to be some testing once the file is created, make sure it works and that kind of stuff. But maybe first quarter.
Nice.
good.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to get rid of having to
Wow.
sort this and
Yep.
having to do data entry and go straight to here.
Yep.
And that could take, that could automate all those taxpayers that are smart to put in the account number, all those taxpayers that can type correctly, and the ones that can't type correctly or the ones that don't put in an account number, we can immediately start researching that. We will never get away from those people that just forgot to put in their account number, put in a typo, whatnot. And with this current process, we can't do that until we do all of it, because we'll
Right.
always have those exception ones that don't have all the information.
So would you be downsizing your staff then once that?
The
process
idea
is-
is that we won't have to have 1 or 2 staff dedicated in AR. We will have 1 staff dedicated to it. We won't have to have up to 3 people in Treasury. We will just have maybe 1 or 2. So yes.
So, well, yeah, I'd say that in the peak periods, we bring in extra help, up to 6 or 7. We'll
it's
probably have
temp
less
labor?
reliance on temporary help having to come in.
Temporary labor, so it's a cost savings.
It will be a cost savings. Even just processing the checks, each item, I think costs us something like 2.5 cents.
Yeah,
at
this
the
is
bank.
actually the workstation where a temp will sit here.
Yeah.
And she or he will have
We'll
her
actually
pile of
get
checks.
that many.
And they'll sit here and do the.
We'll actually get more than that. We'll get a box, so it's,
Yeah.
you know, all at once, and then somebody's got to go through these. sort them out between AR and property tax payments by the account number. And then the two separate processes go on where property taxes is actually creating the statement to match up with the check. Very labor intensive.
So now you have some of the budget freed up to do something else with it.
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
absolutely. It's not like there's nothing to do.
No. There's always something.
We just don't want to do data entry.
Right, yes. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Thank you very
questions?
much.
No, just-